Hello, everybody. Back again for another just a random topic here with Jamie and Chris. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, it's not actually random, really. It got me thinking because earlier on this last week, the old G-Dubs, put on an article that the old Forgeworld will be opening soon again.
Yes. They haven't given a date just yet, though, have they? I don't think. They've just
Couldn't
said it'll
tell
be
you.
opening again soon.
And that got me thinking, with everything that's been going on, I'd like to get just like a fun little thought topic, like a top and bottom three of Forgeworld models. And this, I don't know about you guys, fucking hard picking shit things from Forgeworld.
Yeah. I'll say straight off the bat, to be honest, even the three models that I've picked out, I don't hate any of them. There's just things that I'm not particularly fond of, which I'll explain as and when we get round to it. But yeah, overall, the range is, the stuff that Forge will churn out is top notch. And it was especially difficult picking my three favourite models.
I mean, it's a testament to the designers, isn't it? I mean, if you can look at something like GW's older sculpts, and we can all agree that some of them are fucking dodgy as fuck now. They have not aged gracefully.
Yeah,
But even looking at some of the old Forgeworld stuff, you're like, you know what? That's still pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a look at it was called, I think, Angrath the Unbound. It's now just a Greater Demon of Khorne, I believe. Is it, Jay? The one that you've got?
I think it depends.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think because you can use it in Horus Heresy, I think. So I think it depends what you're using it for. It changes its name.
Right. Okay.
I think. I could be wrong.
But that particular model, that's still...
Because it has an 8th data sheet that says Angrath the Unbound on it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still a very nice model. It still stands up against
it's a lovely
current
model,
range.
Chris.
Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, as you say, Ben, the range does age very well. It's like a fine wine.
It is like a fine wine or a nice piece of cheese. But
The thing I found is, right, I don't know about you, but I've kind of got this list in my head of my Forgeworld models, and anything else outside of that I don't really care about. So I haven't actually looked at Forgeworld in about 10 years.
Okay.
I mean,
what apart from recently for this particular
Because
topic?
like, if you bring out a new Forgeworld model for your faction, you know what it is, so you just add that to your mental list of Forgeworld stuff. And then you don't go on it unless you want to buy something.
Yeah, true.
So I had to browse through the whole bloody website. It took me 2 hours to look at every bloody model in the 40k tab, try and find something, and it's not easy.
it's not. And to be fair, Forgeworld is like 90% tanks.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
But still, like you said, it's all quality stuff. I mean, whether it gets to you,
nearly all.
Yeah, nearly all. But you can't have fault the designers. They've knocked it out of the park. But
yeah,
we'll get into that. So I'll start, right?
Just so people know, how is this particular format working? It's the how are we doing this?
We're going to work our way up. So we're going to start good, end on bad, but we're going to work our way up to our bestest, most favourite model, and we're going to work our way up to our, that is absolute garbage. Why is this still a thing model? So we'll go good, bad, good, bad, good, bad.
Okay.
Make no sense at all?
Nope,
that's fine. Don't care. We're doing it anyway.
I actually found that fairly easy to understand.
I've been drinking, so.
Right.
What's new?
First off, I'll go first. And now, my like for this type of model is verging on fetishistic, because I've made it known before that when it comes to certain implements, I can't resist, and it's gotta be this bad boy here when it finishes processing. There we go.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
Not what you thought?
No, it's not.
Guys,
Well, it is, but it's not.
Yeah.
Matt, look, the only reason that I'm not choosing the bigger drill from Horus Heresy is because...
Is that printed on the list?
No, it's not. The rules are we can only pick stuff from the 40k tab.
Well, that does come up under the 40k tab, though, Ben.
Does it?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep, because I filtered it down. I've only gone under the 40k stuff, and I filtered it down from there and gone on to went through all the Imperium stuff under 40k and that particular model. Whether or not that's just because of perhaps they haven't filtered it correctly, or they haven't tagged it up correctly, and it doesn't have rules for 40k. Currently, from the website anyway, it does come under the 40k option.
Well, regardless, I'm committed to this now, and this thing is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I like drills. I mean, that's not a shock to anyone. I love the Tectonic Frag Drill from the G-Steel Cult. I love the Goliath Rock Grinder because it's basically got a massive chainsaw / drill in the front of it. This thing is what the Goliath Rock Grinder should look like.
Yeah.
That is a beast.
It's kind of like, it's like a big gaping maw, isn't it? It's like a mouth almost, and it's just churning everything up into the center of it.
I want to get this thing and turn it into a G-Steel Cult Goliath Rock Grinder, and I want to just drive it straight forward into enemy lines, and it just be absolutely fantastic. I love. This is part of the reason why I love the G-Steel Cult line, because I love the look of heavy industry in 40k, because it looks grimy and horrible and so utilitarian. All this thing's job, all this thing is designed to do, is chew the fuck out of anything that's in front of it, and that's it. It is just a fantastic model, and I'm surprised. I mean, I was looking up and down the internet because I was surprised when this was released. No one's modded it like for a G-Steel Cult model or or an Orc model. I'm surprised Orcs haven't got their hands on this.
Yeah, maybe it could be a little bit like what Jay's already said, though. If you have your particular range in mind, so you don't necessarily peruse the rest of the Forgeworld range. And until I did this particular exercise for this podcast, I hadn't come across that model. So I was aware of the big AdMech one. Yeah. It is a really nice model. I do prefer the other AdMech one, the bigger drill.
That thing is a beast.
That is a beast. Yeah, it's a very nice model. But I can imagine that fitting in really, really well within Gene-Stealer Cult.
Yeah. If you're going for like an Uprising Miners thing, the Hades Breaching Drill is just mwah. It is magnifique. It looks grimy, it looks horrible, it looks like it's been used very well, and it would just fit in perfectly with any cult army. Well, unless you're going for like one of the ones that just use predominantly tanks. But even then, it's just fantastic model. So that's my number one, the Hades Breaching Drill. It's like turning over and finding a nice, cool bit of the pillow on a hot night. It's just lovely.
Yeah.
One thing about that is, I don't think that tiny tank behind it is going to be pushing it anywhere. Far too front heavy.
That's probably my only issue with that particular model. The back of it doesn't quite match up to the front. And I remember thinking that when I saw it for the first time, like I said, as I was going through all of the different range. So yeah, that's my only sort of negative point on it. But yeah, the front of it, it does look very good.
Yeah,
and if you put
it's
some
all
gore
mouth,
on that,
and it's just going to sit there and grind away, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean,
my Tinder profile.
It's I don't know if any of you guys remember the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Was it Total Recall? Yeah. Where he gets that drill, he just rams it into that thing and says, "Screw you!" I just want to scream that and charge this into something.
Yeah. Very nice.
So, who's up next?
I'll go. See, I've got it prepared. It's loaded and ready. So I'll upload that now, and it would be the Avatar. So this, for me, I think it's pretty obvious why I've chosen this. I've got the model myself. This is exactly what the Avatar should look like. The GW model, as I explained in a previous podcast when we were talking about top 3 or whatever it was of GW's range and bottom 3. This is just, there's 2 different loadouts you can go for. You can go for the one with the spear, which I personally don't have. I have the one with the sword. And I just love the pose on it. It's very thematic. The size is appropriate against the other models within the range. It's just a really nice model. There's a great amount of detail on it. And I know from painting it. The molten body is fantastic in terms of making it look like rock plate over the sort of what looks like a lava core. It's just a really, really, really nice model. And what I will say as well, if people haven't had too much experience with the Forgeworld resin, don't compare it to the GW fine cast sort of range. It's very different.
It's a different beast, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The quality overall is a lot better. There is still things that you have to take into account and you have to be careful of, but overall the quality of the actual material and the models is pretty good. But yeah, I love this model. It's very much one of the big centerpieces of the range, and if you are collecting Eldar, I would definitely recommend you collect or you purchase this particular avatar over the GW one.
I like this because it looks like Gene Simmons' final form.
Yes. Yeah, you've said that about mine, haven't you? Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
It is. That is Gene Simmons' final form. That's his final evolution.
Well, I'll put a picture up of mine as well. You get a better idea of what we're talking about when you see it. If the face is painted white, you can see it.
Yeah.
All you need to do now is green stuff a massive tongue coming out of his face that goes down to the bottom of his chin, and that is Gene Simmons in his final evolution.
Yeah. But yeah,
seriously though, it does look really good. The anatomy's a lot better and the detail, everything's a lot more in proportion. The other one looks like a cartoon version of this.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's the other one is a really old model now. I mean, we're talking, 20 years maybe for that particular avatar. But this is, again, it goes back to that point that the Forgeworld stuff. I'm not quite sure how old this particular model is, but the Forgeworld stuff does age really, really well, and I can see this be very current even in another 5 to 10 years. So,
yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to age. It looks like it's going to age really well, and I've seen paint jobs of this where they've done like a cool sort of outer body and they made the molten bit inside sort of like a glow effect. So it looks like the inside of it is actual molten. Really, really good.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous model. So yeah, that's and I will say this, it was hard to sort of put this into any sort of order for both the dislikes and the sort of the things I like as well from Forgeworld. But yeah, I'd probably say this, if it has to, would sit at the bottom of my pile.
I'm surprised that this being like kind of sort of like key to a lot of Eldar sort of forces, or many Eldar forces at least. I'm surprised you didn't put this near the top because I've not put any Tyranid stuff in my list at all.
You'll understand why I've not put this at the top when you see the other two picks.
Okay, fair enough. Go on, Jamie. Here's what you got.
What was that model you were talking about, Chris?
There we go. Yeah.
There we go. Yep, it's the most pissed off son of a bitch in 40k, Angrath the Unbound.
Yeah.
And I don't know how old this is now. It's got to be, to my mind, at least 15 odd years old.
Well,
I think it's one of the...
You picked this up when we went to a...
it was a convention or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, the NEC, or whatever they were called back then. Yeah.
I was there with you two, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I thought, I've got to have that. It was like 120 quid. Just spent all my money for the day on it.
And bearing in mind, we were sort of early teens, 120 quid for a 12, 13-year-old was a lot of money. So.
Yeah, saved up a lot of money to go to that games day and buy like half an army, but no, spent it all on this thing.
Yeah. But the thing that's really interesting about this, again, when you look at some of the older models within the GW range, one of the big things that sticks out is the proportions don't quite work. Whereas for this model, even though it is quite old, proportionally, it's still really, really good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Given how old it is, it's held up really, really well visually.
This is one hench son of a bitch.
It is.
Just look how thick his neck is. How much shouting is he doing?
Thing is though, Jamie, how many reiterations of demon princes and greater demons have we gone through in between
thousands.
Between the time you bought this and right now, this thing hasn't changed and it's still top tier.
To me, it still looks better than everything else that's come out.
Yeah, definitely.
Great demon-wise.
And it's kind of like, it very much shouts Khorne as well. Whereas you can get other models, other demons, which, I mean, saying that, it's pretty obvious when you look at the demon range what it fits into. But I just think this is very much the sort of the pinnacle of your Khorne range of demons, in my mind anyway.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen the rules for this in 8th, but he's an absolute monster.
What,
if somebody gets charged by that, just take it off. Just whip it off the table.
As Angrath, or is a
machine.
greater demon of Khorne?
As Angrath. Yeah. I'm looking at the rules right now. He's gets like 11 attacks on the charge, and his strength 14. It's ridiculous.
He's a beast, and if he's following any sort of cues from the rest of the Khorne range, he only gets angrier the more he gets hurt, isn't it?
Yep, I believe so.
Yeah,
that is savage. I mean, yeah, it just holds up really well. I can remember those whips being a pain in the arse to use, though, weren't they?
What, to use or to build?
To build.
Yeah, because they come straight out of the box. You have to dunk them in the hot water and then shape them, which I never really bothered to do because I didn't know at the time you had to do that. So mine is straight.
Again, early teens.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't get as far as greater demons of Khorne, you can't go wrong with that boy.
No, he's
absolute
amazing.
beast.
Yeah.
Right, so that's our opening salvo for the three least goodest. Now, like we've said before, taste is subjective, so bear that in mind going forward. But for me, this is my I don't, how can I put this right? This one just annoys me more than anything. Because when I look at it, I'm like, ugh. I'll explain. There we go.
Okay.
The Legion Demius pattern Whirlwind Scorpius. Right. Now, I'll preference this. You've got there a Rhino chassis. Forget about that. The Rhino chassis is classic. It's 40k. There's nothing wrong with that.
I know what you're going to say.
What do you think I'm going to say?
You don't like that turret on top, because I looked at this and I was like, there's something about it.
It is weird. It just doesn't fit into any sort of conventional fight, weapon, if you know what I mean, in terms of the shape.
Thing is, right, it's a whirlwind. And I don't know if you guys can remember the old school whirlwind. Now, there's two sort of big flat sort of like rocket launcher pods, right? Okay. That I prefer to this. Even though that looks now old as bollocks, still prefer that to this because we have mastered rocket launching technology, right? They come in big flat pods.
The three of us?
Yeah, between the three of us, we have mastered it. They come in big flat pods. You know what I mean? Like sort of like SAM site sort of things.
Yeah.
This it sort of looks like, it doesn't look like it launches rockets. It looks like it sort of like lobs them, if you get what I mean. Like if this thing made a sound effect when firing, it would be boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Like, I know what you mean.
Like it's air powered or something. I mean,
a bit like a Nerf dart.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Chris. This thing looks like it's got a Nerf dart launcher on its back, and I'm like,
yeah, I can see that.
I don't know what the point of that curved spike around the barrel is. I don't get what it's for.
I think they're just trying to do it differently, aren't they? I mean, you tend to find with the Forgeworld stuff, they have to have it look quite significantly different to what the GW range is putting out. So, I mean, it does look odd. I can definitely understand that. I mean, I'm taking it. The launchers are obviously the two sort of the kind of turrets or whatever that are kind of within that triangle shape or pyramid shape, and then you've got the missiles which are loaded into what looks like a bit of a minigun on the top of it.
Right, guys. I don't know about you, but that's a fucking rocket launcher.
Yeah.
That's a fucking rocket launcher right there.
And
that other thing's a Nerf gun, right?
Yeah.
So I don't understand. It's like I don't hate it. I'm just confused why you would do that. It's so that's my least worst favorite. If you get what I mean, it doesn't anger me. It just makes me confused.
Yeah. Cool. Mine.
Go on.
Okay, so mine would be this one, which is the Forgeworld version or variant of the Custodian jet bike. I can't remember the exact name. It is the Legio Custodes Gry Falcon, or whatever you.
That's interesting. I didn't expect anything like that from you.
To be fair, now he said it, Jamie. Now someone said it out loud. I kind of agree with him.
The reason why, though, I mean, the Custodian model itself is no different to any other Custodian model. So, that's not the problem. I think the issue or the reason why I've probably picked this out is because I'm comparing it to what we have seen from GW, which is
Yeah.
a much more embellished and much more powerful looking model. This just looks a little bit too, I don't know,
It looks
not physically,
boring
it
at
looks
the
a little
front.
bit flat and a little bit kind of, it doesn't have a lot of character there. It kind of looks like the Reliant Robin version of it, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. It's like, this is one of those rare sort of like events where they've got a comparable model. Like GW do a custodian grav bike, Forgeworld do a custodian grav bike, and the GW one's actually better.
Yeah.
Because it's got a giant eagle on the front of it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I do like that one more than this one, but it's not too offensive to me, and it's sort of in keeping with the other aesthetic the Custodes vehicles that Forgeworld have got, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like I said, I don't hate this model. I don't hate any of the models that I've picked out. This just, I think the reason why I've picked this out as one of my bottom 3 is because I've seen what it should look like, which is what the GW bike is, or variant is. This just looks a little bit.
Put it this
lacking.
way.
When you look at the Custodian Guard, what's the big thing about them? For me, they're just really flashy. It's all about look over here, I'm in the spotlight sort of thing. Everything is sort of really in your face in terms of their armor, everything about them. If you look at the whole range, this kind of doesn't have any of that on it, and I don't know if you guys agree with me. So it'd be curious to know what you think.
I'll put it like this, Chris. The one from GW looks like it should be on the front of a metal album. This one does not. So it has failed.
Yeah.
Is that the gold standard we'll measure everything against? Is it, Ben? Should be on a metal album.
To be fair, when it comes to 40k, it's a pretty good standard.
Yeah, you can imagine Angrath the Unbound on the front cover of metal albums.
Yeah,
so...
that's a good point.
There you go. But yeah, that's probably my kind of least favourite, or least disliked, or however you want to word it, of the bottom 3.
Yeah. Well, yeah, again, just putting that out there, it was hard picking these bad models for Forgeworld because they're all good.
They're not bad models. It's not a bad model. It's just
not.
It's kind of just one of the 3 I dislike the most.
Yeah. Go on, Jake. Your turn.
Okay. All right. This thing is a Drukhari Reaper, and it looks cack.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the proportions on this don't look quite right. It looks like the front should be kind of nosediving into the ground, doesn't it?
Yeah. It looks like the dark grey part is an existing GW vehicle, and the Forgeworld bit is these resin chunks that are a lot lighter grey, and they just slap on, and that gun looks terrible. It's all bent up at the front, and the point of it's way too big and out of proportion. It just looks shite.
Yeah, well, they do that with some of the models, though. It's like some of your Carnifexes, Ben. They sell the Carnifex body, which is the plastic variant from GW, but they include the Forgeworld alternative arms, don't they?
Yes, the Stone Crusher Carnifexes,
Yeah. So that will be a GW sculpt behind it, and then you can see what the Forgeworld elements are. But yeah, you are completely right with that, Jake. It does look...
It looks awful, doesn't it?
It's just the front. It's just the front. It doesn't look right.
Even the back is just boring. It looks no different than another Drukhari vehicle.
To be fair, Jamie, I'm going to come slightly to this thing's defense. I like the sort of like piratish sort of like fin on it, but I am tending to agree with you there. It does look a little bit front heavy.
Yeah, it goes from terrible to boring for me. It just doesn't do anything for me at all.
Yeah, I could probably agree with you on that one, Jay.
I think.
Go on, defend it, Ben. Stand up and defend that.
It's one of those things, Jamie. Now you've pointed it out, I'm like, yeah, you're right. It looks like if you put it on the base, it's just going to tilt forward.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. Like that front is going to be really, especially where obviously the stand's going to be. That's going to be really front heavy. But obviously, you could say, well, you could just move the base, stick it somewhere else. That's fine, but yeah, it's like that gun does not have any business being as long as it does.
It's just long. It looks cartoony and out of proportion, and the fact that it's bent doesn't help.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I don't think it's bent. I think that's just because of how it's raised up from the actual front, or is it the prow? I forget what ship terms.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of raised up, whereas the rest of the body, the back end of the ship looks like it's starting to sort of flatten out or point downwards. That then all of a sudden just starts pointing upwards. So
explain it however you like. It's still got a bend in it.
yeah, okay. Anyway,
well,
moving on. Let's get back to the good stuff and talk about.
Funny you should say about proportions, Jamie. But I know what I like. I like big ass robots, and I like big ass fucking guns. And there's one model that says to me, "Yeah, big ass robot with big ass guns."
Yeah.
There's something about that mod that makes me want to go, "Oh God."
I'm not glad I didn't pick this.
Oh, I want to play Tau because I want this thing, and I want to put it on the table and go, when it's my shooting turn, you're going to die.
Jay, you remember a while back you talked about there was that one dark stormy night where you nearly ended up collecting Tau. Was this one of the temptations?
Yeah. Well, you know when that happens, you go and start looking at the rest of the range, don't you? Yeah. It's just,
all right, guys, calm down. Jesus,
your shooting phase, like you're gonna spend 10 minutes of it on this thing.
Oh mate, you're gonna light up anything with this thing, with this beast. Oh, you can just imagine it in your mind's eye, just like those guns just like side cycle round, and this thing just about to let off. I mean, oh Christ, there's like a rule: you can have too much of a good thing, but then they said no, fuck that. Let's stick guns all over this thing and make it work.
More guns all the time.
Yeah, and they're like, yes, crazy GW man, more guns all the time. That's why I love this fucking thing, because it's the KX139 2R Supremacy Armor, 270 quid. Bang, take my money. Fucking yes, just yes to all the guns. It's got missile pods. I don't even know what these fucking guns are called, but I want them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I am all about close combat. You guys know that, but looking at this thing makes me go, oh God, I wish I had big guns too. I've got gun blue ball by looking at this thing.
Yep. If I had that, your bloody swarm lord's getting nowhere near me.
Oh God, it's so good. It's so big.
It is nice, Ben. It's got a bit of a pea head though.
No, that's fine. It's just more room for guns, Chris. You don't need a head. More room for guns.
We'll take the feet off next. We'll have it floating and have some guns poking out underneath.
Yes. Take up any bit that's not a gun and put a gun there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I could see why you've liked this one. Yeah.
I defy you to bring up a model now that makes you feel as passionate as I do about that.
Okay. There you go.
Oh, fair enough.
So, I think this, when it comes to firepower and guns, is pretty close to that. This just looks chunky. I remember seeing it when it was released and thinking, "Quah."
Quah. I just spell that.
Quah. Yeah, it's just it's a beast of a model. It's chunky looking. It looks like whatever it steps on, it's going to leave a crater wherever it walks. The guns on it look menacing. Like, that thing is going to kick out a lot of firepower and bring down, whatever it points its guns at, basically. It's really nice. I love, again, it's a bit like the proportions of it as well, because it looks like it's able to sustain its own weight with its chunky legs. It's got really big sort of armor-plated shoulder pads as well, which I really like. I love the missile launcher on the back of it. Again, going back to the whirlwind thing, that's kind of how a missile pod should look like, what it should look like. Again, got a little bit of a pea-head, but it's kind of nestled nicely amongst its thick, protruding chest.
I think chunky's the word there, isn't it? It's got a little too much chunk on it for me.
Oh,
really?
mate, to be fair,
I like that.
I'm with Chris. He looks thick. he looks thick.
He looks a bit too thick.
Well, for me, that would be a really intimidating prospect if it was put on the table. It looks dominating, just in every sense.
I think that's the key word into intimidating.
Yeah, definitely.
That's nice. Whereas the Tower Battle suit, you can plonk down and that thing was just going to let you let firepower. This thing looks like it's just going to stomp slowly towards your opponent and just light them up.
If you compared the two, the Tower one looks more nimble and looks like it puts out more firepower because it's got more guns, but compared to the Imperium one, but that looks like it would just take all of that and just keep plodding on towards it, if you know what I mean. It just looks like a big solid mass on two thick legs. So yeah, that's why
it looks like it'd be a bit stuffed if you just quickly ran round to the back of it. It'd be turning around for 15 minutes.
Well, if you went underneath the Tower one, its head's that small on the top of that big chest. It can't look down. So there's faults with all of them.
Oh, but you haven't seen the pictures. There's guns underneath it. It's got crotch guns.
What's yours then, Jay?
I'll show you.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, say what you like about the Mechanicus GW stuff. Some of it looks shite, but their Forgeworld range is bang on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And
this
thing
is. Yeah, it looks nimble. It looks compared to the Night Range, which look like the kind of really rigid and robotic in its movements, and they kind of plod along like the one I've just put. This looks nimble.
Yeah, it looks big and functional and well proportioned and agile.
Yeah.
It looks
definitely.
really, really good. And
Very
I like how
knightly.
cool that lance is. If you can see down the side of it, it's got little tracks where it just gets retracted back and then powered forward. I like how they've thought about that little bit of it.
It's quite. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a bit like. I mean, let's not go into the quality of the films, but like Pacific Rim in terms of the mech design and those kind of suits or those machines. It's equivalent to that, which I quite like. It's that added detail that really sells it. This was one of my contenders actually for my top 3. I did really like this.
Yeah, there's 3 knights, isn't there, that they're in sort of the same sort of proportion as this, but this one just pulled it a little bit for me.
Yeah,
just edged out.
Yeah, I've seen those ones as well, Jamie, but I do prefer the one with the sort of like the Gatling cannon, the flamer, because I can't get my brain around that shield. I'm like,
yeah,
I
think
there.
If I were to get a model like that, I'd try my best to do a good mod job to like create like a force field looking thing over the top of it.
People have
which is
done
what
that.
It's essentially supposed to be there.
Yeah, people have done that, and I've seen variants where people have made it look like there's a force field, and I've seen like there's a cool couple of sort of conversions that people have done for Tower Battle suits and other knights, etc., where they've done like a force field getting hit by something, and that I think if you
just
have
imagine that with one of them, it looked fucking wicked, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
Right. Now, seems though we're all pent up and hot over these nights. Let's cool right the fuck back down again. Right. Now, this might be a little bit. It might cause some raised eyebrows, but I'll explain. Boom.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah, I'm completely on board with you there, Ben.
The Forgeworld range is excellent. Agreed? Agreed? Yeah, agreed.
Yes.
But that does not mean that some models now are starting to show their age.
Yeah, these definitely do show their age. The Eldar Titans.
And the Eldar Titans, I picked this one because it looks the oldest. I think these boys need to be retired now. I think they've had their time in the sun. I think GW need to take the Eldar Titan mold, take it away, redo it so it's in line with the Wraith Knight, give that whole like Wraithbone effect going on, and bring out something new. I think these guys have had their day in the sun. They've served their purpose. I think it's time they be taken out back and introduced to all ability barrels.
The more recent ones, Forgeworld do Wraith Knight variants as well, which is quite nice. There's some really nice ones there, which are different again in the design to the GW ones. The thing that I dislike about these old sculpts, and it is because of the age, because the design of the Wraith Knight obviously is definitely more recent than these. It's the helmet. It's very similar and in keeping with what the helmets are on the Guardians, etc.
When they should be in keeping with the helmets on the Wraith Guard.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a mech, a giant mech.
It looks like Magneto on ice.
It does. Yeah.
I'd see that show. I'd see that.
So yeah,
Now-
I'm completely on board with you, mate. These all of the Eldar sort of big titans that Forgeworld do have sort of seen their day and do need to be put out to pasture and shot.
Like I say, Chris, I've seen some people do amazing things because these boys have got lots of big flat surfaces, and if you like doing freehand, then these things are like a blank canvas. And I've seen some amazing, beautiful paint jobs on these, but that does not excuse the fact that it's a different time now with the advent of the Wraith Knight and that kind of aesthetic, like the giant Wraith construct. The old school Eldar Titans, they are looking a bit old now.
Yeah. Time we were at GWHQ in Nottingham, they've got one of these there, and it is absolutely massive, this thing. And I spent a while just looking at it, and there's just not enough detail on it for me. Like Ben said, there's way too many big flat surfaces. There's not enough going on, and that could just be down to the molding processes at the time when it came out. But it's just a little bit boring.
There will be an element of that, but that is still quite current as well. I mean, if you have a look at my Wraith Knight, there's a lot of different plate. Well, there is more plating in there in the joints, etc. But there's not a big difference. It's not like there's loads of
but your Knight's
designs.
a lot smaller than this because it's so big. It sort of accentuates the issue.
Yeah, I guess, that is very true. I think, like I said, the biggest issue I have, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the shoulder pads on that particular model.
The Revenant.
Yeah, the issue I have is the face. It doesn't fit well. Rather than having it look like a typical helmet, I quite like the kind of the blank sort of visor sort of look that the Wraith Knight currently has. And the same with the Wraith Lords and the Wraith Guard. They should all sort of match each other, in my opinion, and not have what appears to be some kind of face there, if you know what I mean. I mean, these are piloted by Eldari, so they do have a pilot inside of them. But I don't particularly like that head.
Like I said, Chris, me and you both agree on this. These guys now, time to retire them. Reinvent the Eldar Titan. New time for a new age. Yep. For a better Britain. That's what I say.
We need one.
Moving on from politics. This would be my second least favourite-ish thing, whatever, which is there's a variant of it. There's another version of it, which is the Khorne Blood Slaughterer Impaler, and I can't remember what the other one's called. There's just something. I remember talking to you about this one, Ben. There's just something about this which I don't quite like. I think it's, and this could. You might say, well, that's the whole point of chaos. It makes me feel very uneasy. There's something about that I really don't. It doesn't sit well with me, and I don't like it. And even though you do get that sort of distorted look and feel from a lot of the Chaos range, especially in the demon side of things, it's still like if you have a look at some of the Slanesh stuff or the Zinch stuff, it works. But this just doesn't quite sit well with me. I don't like it. It looks just a little bit daft. The face is a bit. But
yeah, I can see that.
There's just
this
something
is a
about
stone's throw away from being something Necron-y, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. You could see a mod. It'd be interesting to know if Necrons have modded this. I just don't. Yeah, there's something about this I just don't like. And it just makes me feel. To be honest, it makes me feel a little bit sick in a weird way. Yeah.
So it's like if you're sitting across from this guy in a bar, you just be glaring at him, going, "I don't know why I don't like you, but I don't like you."
And this is it makes you feel physically sick, and it's your second worst.
No, it's hard to explain. Yeah, it just makes me feel a little bit weird, and it could be just down to the proportions of it, the shape of it, but it's not something I have every intention of collecting. World Eaters. And supplementing that with Khorne Demons, etc. But I have no interest or desire to buy this.
The thing is, I have never, ever once seen this thing in action, ever.
No, I mean, I don't. It'd be interesting to know what the rules are like.
I've seen a lot of bat reps with a lot of Forgeworld models, all sorts, but I've never seen this or its variant. But it's just, I say 6. This to me is it's inoffensive, completely grey. So maybe this is just me, but I sort of see what you mean with the face though.
Don't get again, the model itself in terms of detail and everything is still good. I just don't like it. It's something about it which just doesn't sit well with me. I kind of go, I kill my lip at it. It's still there. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree. You look at it and you think, actually, detail wise and everything, it's not bad. The face is a little bit gurney. It kind of reminds me a little. It kind of reminds me of the some of the facial expressions on the current GW Corn Berserkers. But yeah, I just don't
kind of like it. I mean, that face would have to go, but that could just be because it reminds me of Necron skittery mechanical units that I like.
Well, go on then, Jamie. What's your second mid-worst thing?
Oh, I'll show you. I was actually looking down the list, and this thing just made me laugh. Just made me giggle out loud.
Was it Typhon the Red Wake?
Tyberos the Red Wake, yeah. Or 40k Wolverine.
Yeah, I think I remember something similar. I don't. Yeah, this kind of similar to what Ben's just said about the one I've just put up. It doesn't offend me, so I can see it doesn't. If I was collecting, it is for Space Wolves, isn't it? Just to clarify.
I've not a clue. I mean, it's grey, so it could be.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Is it not? All right. Okay. Well, I got to admit, it's not something that I would sort of be dying to purchase as part of my army range, whatever it fits into. But yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah, it's like it's got 2 power fists, and they've got 3 knives each on top of them, and underneath it's got 2 chainsaws. I mean, what? You can't even close his bloody hand. What? There's way too much design and shit going on with that.
Yeah.
Do you think someone should have taken the design document away from the guy and said, "No, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough."
Stop putting things on his hands. He's never gonna be able to take his armor off.
However, his skull game is okay. He's got 2 skulls. No, 3.
Yeah, they don't make up for that daft old Terminator faceplate, do they?
No.
Could just be because it's a really old sculpt, but it just looks stupid.
I agree. It's inoffensive, Jay, but I do agree with you. Those hands have been over-designed to bollocks.
Yeah. Rules-wise, he's a bloody unit in combat.
Is he?
Really good. Yeah, no, not doing anything for me, that one.
I think I share the same sort of sentiment, Jamie, with the redesigned sort of like Chaos Terminators, with the tusks. Those tusks, man, have got to go. I know they're classic.
They look worse than these. They've got 2 big prongs sticking out at the bottom, haven't they?
Yeah, like, God, I know they're classic, and I know a lot of people love them, but I'm like, oh, it's tusks. Why? Why tusks?
Yeah.
No.
But tell you what, though, now we've got that out of the way. Now we're on the creme de la menthe, the top tier, the A game sort of thing. Now, I feel sorry for Grey Knight players when this was released because it was like, hey, you know that baby carrier you've got? Check out what should have looked like. Ugh. That thing is amazing. The Legio Custodes Contemptor Achilles Dreadnought. That's what a Dreadnought should look like. It's just another example how Custodes have basically taken Grey Knight's football and just walked away with it. So it's my toy now. You're not the best anymore. We are. Go away.
Yeah. That
thing is amazing. It just reeks 40k.
It does.
Zealous, gold, big robot man he's got a wreath on his helmet.
It looks like it would be super quick and agile in terms of its movements.
It's just so good. If you look at the details on this thing, he's got a lot. He's got tubes, he's got plates, he's got tubes going into plates. Like I say, that wreath on the helmet that's embedded in sort of like the chassis is fantastic. It's got like a knight helmet as well. I mean, like I say, I feel sorry for Grey Knight players when this is like, some people may like the baby carrier. I personally think it looks a bit stupid.
Never, in truth, in all the bat reps that I've watched of Grey Knights, any sort of YouTube content, be it podcast or vodcast, whatever it is. Whenever Grey Knights have been talked about and the Dread Knights come up in it, I've never heard anyone really speak favourably in terms of its design.
No, I'm not using this as like a vehicle to bash Grey Knights, but look at that.
Yeah.
If anything screams Imperium more than that, then show me, because I don't believe you.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. It looks grand, it looks elite, and that's the thing. It as I said before, proportionally, it looks like, and just how it's designed, it looks like it's agile and quick, and it's an extension of the man inside of it, rather than he's encased within this rigid, moving sort of sarcophagus baby carrier thing. So yeah, I completely agree with you.
These guys are the Emperor's Chosen, the superest of the space bros. Just don't go toe to toe with them, because they will fuck you up. And that is this model inside and out. It's a beast, and it's like you think yourself, Christ, I'm envious of it. I'm so envious of it.
Yep, completely agree, mate. Shall I do mine next?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, it's funny you should put that one up, Ben, because I chose this one. And I struggled to pick between that one and also this one. Pretty much for very much the same reasons. Again, a lot of it stems, so it's the alternatives to the Custodes Telemon Heavy. Well, this one's called the Heavy Dreadnought with Elastus Accelerated Covering. I don't know. But yeah, they're gorgeous models. I think it all stems from the fact with my Grey Knight army, I could really see these being modded and designed as Dread Knight equivalents. So yeah, I love them. I think out of the two that I've put up, the reason why I picked, rather than the one with the spear, I picked the sword and the shield. I just think it looks a little bit more knightly. I'm a big fan of that. I like the shields. But really, again, it comes down to I think the bulky nature of it. I think the one with the rocket pod on the top, I like how big those shoulder pads are. It just looks a lot more intimidating and imposing when it's put down on the table. And it looks like it can kick out a lot of firepower at the same time. But yeah, those two are probably, I couldn't really pick between them for just different reasons, like I've said, but those two are my favourites.
Yeah, I'm completely on the same page with you. I picked the spear one because obviously it does hero pose better.
Yeah, definitely. Jay, you've not really said anything about any of these that we've put up. What do you think?
I don't like Contemptor Dreadnoughts.
Well, fuck you then.
And that was the end of that story.
Hence my suspicious silence. No, I don't really like them.
Well, I can't wait to see yours so I can poo-poo that then. Go on.
Yeah, but you can't though.
What? Okay, before we move on, why is it that you don't like these? What is it about the Contemptor Dreadnoughts that you don't like?
I don't hate them. It just looks like a normal Space Marine, just enlarged a little bit.
Yes, that's the
what
point.
I like. That's the point. Yeah,
No, there should be a distinction like between a Space Marine and a War Machine. It just like the Redemptor. I love the design of the Redemptor because it looks like a machine. But I don't like that because it just looks like a big custodian guard. That's why I don't like it.
I don't see any problem with that. I think you're an idiot.
Yeah,
I think it's boring design.
Well,
I don't really care what you think, Chris.
I don't really. Ben, can we end the show now? I don't really want to see Jamie's.
Go on.
Absolutely not.
Well, go on. Furnish with your grand pick.
All right then. Poo-poo that.
Oh yeah, but we know why you picked this.
Because it's bloody awesome. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Joking aside, it is a gorgeous model.
I'll tell you what. I remember when we were down at GWHQ again. We get down there a lot. We were there, and you came and pointed this out to me, didn't you, Ben?
Well, basically, what happened was you were there. I think you're talking to a guy about like the ice from the ice.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I looked over and I saw like a big spindly looking thing. I'm like, ooh, what's that? Tyranids, go over there. And I'm like, oh, it's a new Necron model. I'm like, oh, it's a new Necron model. Jamie, there's a new Necron model over there.
I went over there, and the guy that designed it was standing next to it, and I almost grabbed him by the collar and said, "What is this? I need to know right now." Because at the time we didn't know what it was, but now we do.
Yeah, it is. It is a very, very nice model. It's something that the Necron range was crying out for a long time. It needed something.
It needed the Titanic unit. That wasn't the model.
Yeah, and it needed to have that sort of centerpiece model, which this was. I mean, saying that, with the announcement of the latest or the last Psychic Awakening release and the start of Ninth, the new Necron range.
You mean Psychic Awakening Inquisition?
Yes. There's I think you've got plenty of centerpiece contenders now, so this has kind of got a run for its money, but it's going to fit into this brand new range perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, when I spoke to him, he said his sort of design brief for this was make a Necron Knight. Now, what they could have done is just made a big old stompy Necron, couldn't they? But I like it because it's, like I said before, it's a machine. It's like I don't know. I just can't put it into words, but I don't like it when it's just a big dude. You know what I mean?
Well, Necrons aren't really. Like a war machine. I know that. I say, well, I'm wrong when I say this, but I guess for a lot of the vehicle stuff, you don't really get anything which looks humanoid. I know, obviously, all of your sort of your troops, etc., and your infantry models, they're humanoid in nature, obviously because of where they've come from. But I can't think of anything vehicle-wise which is humanoid in nature, and this is kind of like another large...
the range, everything is sort of mechanical in nature. They could quite easily have gone down that route, couldn't they? Made everything, just big Necron machines.
It's basically a scarab which has been taking too many steroids.
The guns could look better.
I think that's just how they're painted up again. This kind of looking at them as they are in that particular picture, and I know I don't feel like this when I see yours, Jamie, because I've not had this sort of impression, but they again look like they're firing Nerf darts.
That might be because they're painted like Nerf darts.
Yeah, that's probably the main reason why I'm thinking that.
Yeah, not a huge fan of the paint scheme on this one, to be honest. I much prefer mine.
Yeah, I like the darker paint scheme. I don't mind the main body of it. I think it's just how the guns are painted. But I love this model. It's a bit, from what you've said though, it is a bit of a bitch to construct.
Yes, it is. The legs are a challenge.
It's similar to what's the big Tyranid Biotitan called again, Ben?
Let me use this opportunity to segue into my worst. Now, it's not the Hierophant Biotitan, even though that was the contender, and I could not force myself to put the Hierophant Biotitan in the worst slot because the Hierophant Biotitan looks fucking sick. Okay, aesthetically it looks sick. Yes, you need a degree in engineering to build the fucking thing, but it still aesthetically looks like da bomb. This thing, however, looks aesthetically like it's missing something. And you'll see why when you see the picture.
We'll get on with it then.
Yeah.
I did not see this.
Where are you going with those carpets, mate?
I did not see this under the 40k tab.
Somebody ran out of internet when he was designing this guide's arms because there's no way in hell that those weedy noodle arms are holding up those two fucking huge cannons.
Yeah,
it's just
proportionally it doesn't look right. That's because that's the same body as the one that I liked earlier. The legs are definitely the same.
Yes, but the one you linked earlier, your arms are sort of like built into the chassis. They're not really arms, they're more turrets.
Yeah.
This thing has arms, and I wish it didn't. It looks stupid. Its arms look tiny and weedy, and it looks like it could barely muster the energy to keep those big old cannons, which look like they're from the 50s sci-fi universe.
I was going to say, I don't like that 1950s ray gun aesthetic at all.
Yeah.
That's very AdMech though, isn't it? It's an AdMech Titan.
It's Chris, just look at the arms.
Oh, mate, I'm not disagreeing
arms.
with you. It looks daft. Yeah, I will say that. It compared to a lot of the Forgeworld stuff, that looks daft.
It's listen, guys, Forgeworld guys, you've done a great job. You hit out the park like 99% of the time. Just take this thing back and give it some beefier arms, or better yet, get rid of the arms and just build those guns into the shoulders like you did in the last one, and then we could be happy. It's just absolutely. I can't even. It's if I try and look at any other point of that model, my eyes are instantly drawn to those two noodle arms, and it bugs me. And that's why this is my number one, because out of everything on Forgeworld, this one irritates me more than anything else.
Yeah
it looks like it wasn't finished getting designed. It was like, fuck, it's almost tea time. Let's knock off. There you go. There's a design for it. Where you should have spent a little bit more time designing some armor plates to go over those arms. And that's why it's the worstest of my pick. So there.
Okay. Yeah, but it's a very fair point.
Fair enough. I didn't think you'd pick something like that. But there we go.
And before I post it, I actually disliked this model, and I'll explain why when I show you. But I instantly disliked this when I saw it announced and revealed 2 years ago or so. When I think it's around that sort of time when it came out. But it would be this guy, which is the Legio Custodes Shield Captain. The proportions, again, it's all down to proportions. It looks squat. His arms look far too short in that particular pose. His spear doesn't look right. That looks like it's been squashed. There's something about that which doesn't look okay. It doesn't fit in with the rest of the Custodes design.
That face is really off-putting.
Yeah. He's been basically stepping. He's had too many Cheerios, maybe. Or Cheetos. Sorry, Cheetos. Yeah, it's something about this particular model. I think just in terms of, like I said, the proportions of his arms, it just doesn't. It doesn't look right. Doesn't look natural. Doesn't look normal. He doesn't look like he's nimble. And I think a little bit as well, looking at it now in a little bit more detail, would be I forget what they call it, but the piece going over his head.
It's not the Aquila. It's like Halo sort of thing.
Yeah. Whatever that particular piece of the armor is. I know that they have psychic wards and stuff, or psychic hoods. I'm not sure if it's something similar, but yeah, I just don't like the design of this model. And if I was collecting Custodian Guards, I mean, the feet look too big for the rest of the model. If you look at that, they're huge. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to know what you guys think of that, whether you agree with me in terms of what I've picked out on it.
Yeah, if you put that next to the other character, was it Trajan Valaris or whatever his name is? There's not a patch on him, is it?
No.
Yeah.
It just looks a bit squat.
Those two were sort of released at a similar time, because is it that particular character that was released by Forgeworld, Jay, I think, or not?
No, that's the GW version. There is another one that looks like a bloody anime character, but even that looks better than this.
Yeah.
And as for that headpiece, Chris, Voldus did it better.
Yes.
Voldus did that better.
Yeah, I think if you paint his hair yellow, that looks a bit like Daniel Craig, doesn't it? He's got an epic scowl going on.
Yes, he has. I think this is one of those occasions where a helmet is definitely required for this boy. He doesn't need to be showing anyone that ugly mug.
Yeah, so that's why. It just, as a model,
again,
doesn't fit well.
Well, not terrible, but not great.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Go on then.
Okay, then. Well, based on recent entries, you guys will probably like this one. But like, what would happen if you took a Contempt to Dreadnought, right? You put it in a hydraulic press, washed it down a little bit, ripped the arms off, replaced them with 2 daft-looking guns, and then stuck a pair of Mickey Mouse ears on the top. You'd have this.
Actually,
the Desperado, is it called?
Something like that, yeah.
Actually, Jay, I completely agree with you on this. I do not, because there's different variants of that particular body, and I don't like it.
It looks stupid, doesn't it? It looks like a dwarf dreadnought.
Yeah. I just don't like the shape of the body. It doesn't sit well with me again. And now you've compared it to Mickey Mouse. Yeah, I can't unsee that. So
I prefer the bloody 1990s dreadnought compared to this one, and that didn't look the best.
Listen,
I hate it.
I have no problem with those rocket launchers. I've got no problem with those guns. I particularly like the way they're belt fed. I think, Jamie, I've got to agree with you on the way the body looks like it's just been squashed.
It looks fat. It's a fat dreadnought.
It's a fat dreadnought.
It's a fat, squat dreadnought with no arms and stupid ears on it. It offends me.
It's. I'm trying to think of it.
You try and defend that.
you can't, Ben. Don't even try.
Hey, listen. You cannot deny the guns have been designed well, being belt fed, and those rocket pods are nice.
They're not.
They are. They are, Jamie. It's just the chassis. It's just the chassis you've got to.
Why is the 2 rocket pods? They look like ears. Why couldn't you just have one?
Listen, would you rather have those rocket pods, or would you rather have the ones for the whirlwind I linked earlier?
Well, that big turret on top of it. Yeah, that'd look better.
No, it wouldn't. No, flat rocket pods are better. That's science, Jamie. That's proven by science.
Right, I'm going to put in... This is how a dreadnought body, a typical dreadnought body, should look, in my opinion, which is the Leviathan dreadnought. That...
You see, I fully agree with you. He looks thick. A big, chunky robot. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that dude at all.
Yeah, his shoulders have got to be above his head.
And again, a flat rocket pod nestling in the middle there. But
yeah, that's fine. Got no problem with that. This one looks stupid.
Listen, I reckon if you took
it does look stupid, yeah.
If you took those guns and that rocket pod and you put them on that Leviathan, I reckon it would look baller. But
have you seen the size of those rockets in the pods? They're not hurting anything. They're tiny.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I'm not a big fan of those rocket pods, Ben. They look. I don't even think this particular model's all that old. The design of it.
To be fair, they do look like they should have LED lights behind them, don't they? Like lighting up.
Yeah.
Like he's not so much firing, more he's like guiding aircraft into it like a landing pad.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of those rocket pods. I think we've seen some much better designs when it comes to rocket pods from Forgeworld.
It looks like a tray of cherries.
Hey, but fair enough. I will concede the rocket pods, but I defy you to tell me those 2 auto cannons do not look good with the belt fed.
I think you could have picked better looking guns to go on the side of this.
Yeah, I'd agree with Jay on that. I think they're okay, Ben, but I'm not saying that there's anything to shout home about those.
I mean, in the whole of the Space Marine range, all the dreadnought variants and vehicles and shit you've got, why the hell would you buy that?
I can't answer that question, JB. I'm not. I'm not.
You damn can't.
I'm not a Space Marine player. I don't know. I can tell you the differences of the Khan effects and why you should pick ones over the others, but I can't. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. All right. No.
There we go then.
Yep.
Well,
nothing more to be said.
I think that was an enlightening debate.
Yeah, and I just want to
squat dreadnought.
I just want to reiterate again. There's nothing I hate about the Forgeworld range. There's stuff I hate from the GW range. See back to an earlier podcast if you haven't watched that, but to get what we're talking about. But yeah, there's nothing in the Forgeworld range that I hate. There's just. I don't know if you guys, judging from Jamie's reaction to
I hate that dreadnought.
Yes, I might be on my own here, but yeah, there's nothing I personally hate from Forgeworld.
No, I mean, I agree with you, Chris. There's nothing I hate with a passion that apparently Jamie only reserves for this particular dreadnought. But there are things that irritate me, but nothing that I outright hate.
Yeah.
It's just, again, it's just a testament to the design, really. I mean, apart from apparently the Dreadnought, but everything else looks pretty much on point.
Yeah, I'd say you probably Forgeworld stuff is more expensive. Like if you have a look at some of the alternative sort of bodies and heads that they do for certain models, we were looking at the stuff for the World Eaters, for like Khorne Berserkers. They do a really nice alternative for them. You pay more for the Forgeworld stuff, but I would always say that you get what you pay for with Forgeworld. You're paying for quality.
That's the age-old argument, though, isn't it, for GW? Oh, GW stuff is too expensive. Well, it's at the end of the day, they could price it, but I'm not going to go into that because that's going to be, pricing of GW price is a completely different thing on its own. But you can't argue with the quality of the sculpts from Forgeworld. You can't. Every single Forgeworld product I had.
It's that Dreadnought you can.
No, but even it may aesthetically look bunk according to Jamie, but I bet you could not argue with the detail on that.
What detail?
Well, apparently like a third of the audience here is like.
Which model are you looking at? Have I linked the wrong picture here or something?
No, I'm talking about that one. I'm talking about the Desperado or the Dead Dorado or the Dead by Daylight or whatever it is. The Deirdre. Yeah, it's like you can't knock the quality of Forgeworld sculpts. You can't do it.
99% of the time, yeah.
Yeah, it's just right there. So there, have some of that.
Great.
How do you feel about that, Jamie? Yeah.
You're wrong, obviously.
Right, and I think that's going to be pretty much it for today. Unless you two boys have got anything else to add. I mean, nope. I know they did. I think they released the Imperial Knight faction focus today, which was like. That one yet. It basically said you could have knights in a formation that cost you command points, but it won't.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. You know how like the new stuff in Ninth is basically like you choose your main detachment, you get refunded. Knights are gonna have something like that.
Right. Okay.
So that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah. Nothing else you boys want to add? No. Nothing else you're dying to talk about?
No, not at this stage. I'm just very, very keen now to kind of see Ninth in full detail.
Yes, I think
I've been quite curious and I'm feeling quite optimistic about what lies in store. I know there's issues and that's for another podcast, and I know you've talked about it in your recordings, Ben, but I know there's certain armies which have got concerns and issues with what's been announced so far, but all I'd say is just wait and see. Changes are coming, but it's until we've had a chance to properly see the rules in full detail and start to play test them ourselves, then we don't truly know what effect it will have on our armies at this stage.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I just echo that, Chris. People saying, well, boards are smaller now. They don't have to be smaller. They're just recommendations.
No. Yeah.
We don't know what the full scope of the rule sets are like yet. We just don't know. And you can't judge from just getting a small piece of the picture. So, yeah, just chill out, guys. Hold fire. You can dump on it all you want when it's in your hands and you've got the full picture of it. But until then, we can't really say either way, can we?
No, not yet. No.
Yeah, and that'll be it from us, guys. Obviously, do all the gubbins down in the bit below, the up thumb or the down thumb. Leave comments, your own personal likes and dislikes for Forgeworld, all that good stuff. And yeah, I suppose we'll catch you all next time. See you later, guys.
See you later.
That's all.